So, Kristin, on today's episode of FountainCast, I want to talk about internships.
Yeah.
I had a great interview last week with a student from a university in Montreal who is seeking an internship with our Chamber of Commerce this summer. So I'm super excited about that. And it reminds me of the fact that you shared that during your school years that you had a really neat intern experience. So share with everyone a little bit more about that as we go into our intern offerings.
I'd love to. That was a defining experience for me my junior and senior year of high school. I remember our guidance counselor actually gathered our entire class up. We met in the cafeteria and she shared about this incredible Workforce 2000 opportunity that we had to work in various industries. There were some choices there. You had to do some testing, actually multiple interviews with local community college. And through all of that, I ended up being accepted into this program. And so I was in the print industry. That's where I spent my previous life at.
Yes.
And I ended up doing an internship my junior year unpaid with the printing company and took some college courses.
Okay.
And then the following year, the second part of that was to actually work at the print shop for a paid, to do that. And so I did that internship my junior and senior year of high school. And I actually ended up going fully into the print industry. They kept me on while I was in college. I worked there part-time. And then I did leave briefly. I finished college up. And once I actually, had my resume ready to send out, they were interested in hiring me. In their sales and customer service department at that time. So it was incredible. The people that I met and those experiences they just have stayed with me through my entire life. You end up having some mentors.
Yeah.
And you develop these relationships with people that I still connect with. I see them on Facebook and we comment on different things in our lives. And so it was a tremendous opportunity for me.
That's awesome. So real quick, before we go into what we're talking about today, had you not had that intern experience in your junior and senior year of high school, what do you think you would have done? What do you think you would have, what industry would you have gone into?
Wow, I really have no idea because honestly, I didn't know what direction I wanted to take. And I can remember my dad talking to me about some ideas and, maybe the legal world. And I don't know that. I was like, I don't know if that's for me. And
right.
I don't know that I really had a direction or knew what I wanted to do. I didn't, knew I didn't want to be a nurse. And so I honestly did not know what I would do. Having that presented to me was, it really actually fit my interests and, things that I liked. So I don't know. I don't think I ever probably would have found that path had I not been introduced to it.
Wow. The power of internship.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to kind of our next topic. I want to ask you, we have our Workforce Intern Program.
Yes.
Why was that important for the Chamber to launch that? We tell a little bit more about that. We partner with the school. How did that all take place? Because, getting a school to want to do something like that and getting, buy-in from businesses and community. So break it down for us.
Absolutely. So we call it WIP for short. We're going to whip those kids right into shape to be local entrepreneurs and to work locally is our hope and our mission. But we did start it 3 years ago, and it was started in 2023 in partnership with Fountain Hills Unified School District. But I will even go before that. The town of Fountain Hills in 2022 did a study, and they did a survey of all the residents of Fountain Hills, which is about 23,000 residents. And in their survey, they, among many other questions, they asked how many residents were looking for employment in Fountain Hills. And at that time in 2022, it was 0.02%.
Wow.
So not 2%. 0.02%.
Wow.
So as a Chamber of Commerce, that shares with everyone, we don't have a workforce. We literally have no workforce. So we knew that we'd have to create something so that we can create employees for our businesses to thrive in town. And right at that same time, we had a new superintendent, Dr. Kane Jagodinsky. And it was his brainchild, it was his idea. He said, Betsy, I want to do an internship in partnership with the Chamber. Are you on board? And I said, your timing is perfect. Absolutely. We need to create this for our town. And so in partnership with the Fountain Hills Unified School District, the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, we created the Workforce Intern Program, or WIP for short. And so it is a part of the curriculum for our high school in town that our seniors have to do an internship with a local Chamber of Commerce business in order to graduate, which is amazing to get that kind of buy-in from your school district. So they have a choice of one of four things. One is our internship, or they could do an internship through EVIT, East Valley Institute of Technology, which they already had in place. But not every kid does EVIT, right? So it wasn't an opportunity for every child or every student. And if they support their families financially, then they could count their work as their internship. And then they wanted to offer a fourth option. And so the option is to do a school project. So most kids choose the intern program. They do. And so that's how it was established. We're going on into our fourth intern fair.
That's exciting.
Coming up. So yes, it's grown. And the fact that it's a requirement is very cool. I know that Dr. J, for short, from Jagodinsky, I know that Dr. J has been asked from other superintendents, from other school districts, how did you make this happen? So many school districts would love to be able to put in their curriculum a requirement to do an internship, but they just can't possibly see how to navigate creating and really implementing a program like that. And he always says the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce came through for me. So yes, that's how we all began, which is exciting. And that's why I always love having you talk about your intern opportunity. So let's talk about some other opportunities that we have had in the past through the intern program. Just some companies that might come to mind. You and I can talk about them together, but any that are of note to you that you thought was really cool that they were part of our intern program last year or the last couple of years.
Yeah, we've had some contractors, that have participated in that job fair and, have interest from students. So like Dirk's Electric, they participated in that fair. And so I think that's really great because it also, college isn't for everyone, and to also have that, it's something outside of EVIT, but to just have a little peek in that, small internship window of what, an electrician does, what an owner does in a small business like that. I think that is very incredible. And then, of course, healthcare is a huge industry.
Yes.
And there are a lot of healthcare options in Fountain Hills, whether it's holistic or, it's, nursing or more senior focused. We have like Home Instead comes to mind, where they go out to the homes and help seniors with, daily things that they do. That really sticks out. And a lot of students are interested in something in the health career. So I think that is great that we have some options for them to do something related to health that way.
Yes, absolutely. And just this current year, from the last intern fair, we had a student who wanted to intern with our fire department. And we didn't have them already as a host of the intern program. But what makes us unique too is that we said, okay, we want an internship that every student wants, right? And so that student wanted the fire department. So we went out and we got the fire department. And she was their first ever intern at the Fountain Hills Fire Department and had an amazing experience. And she's hoping to work there at the Fountain Hills Fire Department from the intern program.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Talk about life-changing. I mean, truly to put somebody on the path of where they could be. And on the flip side of that, maybe they don't want to go. So talk about that a little bit. The fact that somebody might think they want to be an engineer, for example, and they could go and be an intern for an engineering firm. And what could they possibly find out?
Yeah, they could find out that, wow, this isn't what I thought it was.
This is not
I don't
for
think
me.
it's for me. Yeah, you mean you have to do this? So, I mean, it's a really inexpensive way, and you're going to have less time invested, than getting through college, and then, your later years getting past those gen eds, and then finding out that, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I know I certainly looked at, in my college journey, I actually thought about switching gears, and I thought about like going into interior design, and then I saw that you had to take CAD classes, and I was like, oh, heck no, I'm not taking those, because I had to take like this beginning one as part of my curriculum, and I suffered through it, and I was like, no way. So yeah, students don't always, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and it's going to work out great, and then I mean, you don't know unless you try. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing if you do that internship and you spend the 40 hours there with a business and you're like, yeah, I don't think I want to care for elderly people. I don't want to go into healthcare or, so it's good. It's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. And that is, like you said, so valuable in your time and in the money that you're saving by going into the wrong profession, perhaps.
Yeah.
Going to school for the wrong profession, perhaps, too. And so also for the local businesses that might be listening, or even not local businesses, we are happy to partner with a business. If it's something we don't have in Fountain Hills, we're happy to partner. I know that we also had a student at the Mercedes-Benz in Scottsdale because he was interested in that. And so obviously we don't have a Mercedes-Benz company in Fountain Hills. I wish we did. And so we were able to make that happen as well. So what should local businesses know if they want to participate? Like, what's the very first step?
The very first step is reach out to us and get on our interest list so that we can send you notifications of when that intern fair is coming up. You don't want to miss the intern fair, right? I mean, the students they go around, they have a sheet of paper and they have questions to ask you. And, they're kind of getting to know you, and even they're going to have a list of businesses that might be a good fit for them. So you want to be at that intern fair and present your business, because you have to kind of sell yourselves to the student as well.
Right, absolutely. Because they're going to go to the fun business. I mean, truly they are. They're going to go to the fun business.
Yeah. And I think something else for our businesses to keep in mind is, teenagers, they're like adults. Some are aggressive and they know what they want to do, and it's boom, boom, boom. And others are more timid, or they're slower to respond, and it's everything that you experience as an adult. And so there's some of those simple expectations, I think, that you need to share with people about showing up on time and communication. And I think that, some of those responsibility aspects, some students haven't had a job before. So the internship is kind of their first job, if you will.
Absolutely. Some don't know that you shouldn't show up to work or for your internship with ripped jeans.
Right.
Or your midriff showing. Sometimes they need to be told that, and that's okay. So that's all part of the learning process. So we did just learn when we get to do our intern fair. We are making a shift, so I'm super excited. For the first 3 years, we had our intern fair for seniors in high school, and we had it in the fall. And then they got to do their internship during the school season of their senior year. Well, this year, we are doing a second intern fair this fiscal year, but in the spring. So it'll be April 29th. From 11:30 to 1, and it's brand new, like hot off the presses information. So we're super excited because we're going to have up-and-coming seniors there. We're going to have juniors there.
Oh, that's great.
And so they're going to get matched with their business at that April 29th intern fair. And then they have the opportunity, not a requirement, but they have the opportunity to do their entire internship over the summer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
Leading up to their senior year so they can knock it out.
Wow.
And it's one less thing to do during their senior year. And I'm also excited about that too, because it gives them a real intern experience. I know that with our interns, and I know you've hosted some interns through our chamber too in your department. And when we host an intern, they might only have 1 or 2 hours per week, right? And so you don't really feel like you get a full intern experience.
Yeah.
But over the summer, you can give them a full day.
Yeah.
And they can get that full print shop experience you got of being a real intern, so that they can have that experience as they move forward.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you too, beyond, and you already shared that with your internship, it really was, the trajectory for your future. But do you feel like beyond the profession you went into, did it prepare you for just life as an adult?
I would say so. The responsibility that was given to me, I had to show up and answer to, other people besides parents. And it set the stage, earlier for that, for what is expected of you in life.
Right.
So, working and doing that internship and going to school, and then the pride that came along with my company that wanted to offer me a job.
Absolutely.
They really, it definitely did. And it gave me an appreciation too for respecting those people that train you and bring you up, in a business, and they really pour into you.
Yes.
They really do. They want to see you succeed. Yeah, definitely impactful for later in life.
So cool. So I know that our school, and I'm assuming, I imagine many schools do this, but we have something called a portrait of a graduate.
Yes.
And a big part of the portrait of a graduate is that when our high school seniors graduate from the Fountain Hills Unified School District, when they graduate, they are respectful, they are on time, they are ready for the world. And part of that is the intern program. And that helps to train them, as you said, helps to train them in areas that perhaps they're just not getting in their previous experience up to that point. And so we really, to see that we're a part of that is so very rewarding. And how do you think the bigger vision of our workforce in Fountain Hills, how do you think that we will see an impact to that in the next couple of years? I feel like we're already seeing the ripple effect of it. We're seeing younger business owners, younger entrepreneurs in town. But do you foresee from what we've done so far a bigger effect, a bigger impact?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you develop a little bit of a relationship, when you're working with a business, and you remember that, the good or the bad, what you take from it. And hopefully it's good. People move away, they go to college, but I think that stays with them, the experience that they had in Fountain Hills, and, bring those businesses back. A lot of people are young people are very aspiring to start their own business. They can bring those right back into our community. And we have even some young entrepreneur members, that we have businesses, and they're out there hustling and making their own money. So absolutely an impact being made.
Yes, and I feel like you get at least for me, I get a sense of like mama bear, like these are your kids and you're helping groom them. And so on that note, as a parent, what do you think we should share? I always say to our businesses, if they're thinking about being an intern host, don't think of this as free labor, because that's not what it is.
Right.
It is not free labor. It is an unpaid internship, but you have to put some time, effort, and energy into them, because your whole goal as a business owner is to inspire these kids to want to be in your industry, because you've taught them about your industry and you've trained them in your industry. And so it's truly a teacher role, and it's to motivate, inspire, and encourage these students. And honestly, it's more work than just free labor that you're looking for. But if, as a parent, what do you want to share about the intern program to maybe set their mind at ease, who might be thinking, okay, all of these businesses just want my child as free labor?
Right. I think you have to come at it from an angle of they get to do this. They're about to spread their wings, whether they're going to go to college or they're going to go off to trade school or whatever, or they're just going to go out in the workforce and start working. They're going to spread their wings. And this is their first opportunity to get warmed up. And it's something that they get to do and experience. You might hear them come home and complain like what they learned was boring. Boring is a part of life. And I tell my kids, it's not everything can be fun and exciting and great all the time. There are some boring aspects to work and what you do, but it's part of it.
Right.
And I think that you have to let them experience it and, simply let it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And we do also an information session for all of our businesses so that they're really well aware. We also do a U+2 training of working with the youth, and there's some safety precautions put into place for the parents to be aware of. So we're very cognizant of that. We've had direction from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Scottsdale, our local branch in Fountain Hills, and we've also had the Boy Scouts of America and working with youth and what that looks like. And then we further that information to our intern hosts so that they can be a really, really great host.
Yeah, there's all guidelines, and so they know what kind of a program to form for the student, and so they're not just blindly creating something from scratch. And
right.
We kind of have that guide for them so that they know do's and don'ts.
And everything is there for someone who's interested, whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, whether you're a business, everything's on our FH Chamber website. So what is one skill, just in closing, what is one skill that you wish that you would have learned earlier in life? Maybe something that, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that. Maybe something that, you've learned recently, or something that you wish you maybe would have known when you were 17, 18, 20 years old. Is there anything that comes to mind?
One thing that comes to mind is I mentioned Toastmasters before. You know, I'm a Toastmaster. I had wanted to do Toastmasters for a decade, and the kids were little, the timing wasn't right. I do, looking back, wish that I would have just, said, it doesn't matter, I'm going to do this and take the time for it, because that communication and that listening aspect is essential to doing business. Mm-hmm. And, whether you're an employee or, you're a business owner, being Toastmasters teaches you better listening skills, better speaking skills, mm-hmm. how to all around communicate better. And so I do wish that is something that I would have done earlier in my career.
Yes.
I think it would have maybe just made some things happen a little bit faster. And I always say you're right on time, but I would recommend that, young kids get involved in a Toastmaster group, because you're going to learn how to communicate better, and that's going to help you get more clients. It's going to help you communicate with your boss when you want that raise, or, diffuse an argument when you are a supervisor and you've got two employees that aren't, that are button heads. I can't say enough, about that, that's something probably I wish sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do love your statement that everything's up right on time.
Yeah.
That's very true. Things happen when they're supposed to,
right.
and how they're supposed to sometimes.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Mine is sales.
Yes.
I learned sales very early on, and most everyone that you come into contact with would say their number one fear is public speaking, mm-hmm. and number two is sales. So here we are, the dynamic duo who wants you to do sales and public speaking. Yeah. But truly, sales is something, even if you don't love sales or you don't want to be a salesperson, if you learn the skills that are really valuable and effective in sales, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You can do anything. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you want to be a rock star or if you want to be a janitor. You can do anything once you learn some of these type of skills that we're talking through. And internships can get you there.
Right.
So with that, we encourage you to check out our fhchamber.com/WIP, WIP for Workforce Intern Program. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.